Hi, good evening. I just want to start off by thanking y'all for being so supportive and encouraging, for the letters y'all wrote that I got to receive there. They were such an uplifting part of the day. Just for the support of the church financially to be able to go on these kind of trips is such a blessing, and it does make it a lot easier to say yes, because it removes that burden. So thank you all so much. I was telling Brother Taylor that I practiced before coming, and it took an hour, so I'm going to try not to do that. But I guess I was funny enough that we sung that song. I love that song, and I don't know how many of y'all know, way back when I was a teen, I had always hoped to be a missionary. That was my life plan, and then one thing led to another, and it didn't seem to be happening. And there was times when that was frustrating, and maybe I just didn't see God's plan. But that song, many a times as we've had it for offering or altar call, that it would remind me that where I was, whether that was here in Brooklyn, at my home, at my job, wherever that God had me at that moment, was where I needed to be, and I needed to give that 100%. And but then God surprised me and let me go to Honduras, so I'm so thankful for that. Let's see here. So day one. Oh, where do I need to aim it? Oh, there it went. Okay, day one. So this was us flying in. We left at 2 a.m. from Collins. We took a tour bus and then flew in. We got there about noon. And I'll tell you what, that travel was a lot harder on me than I thought it would be. I just thought I was going to muscle on through that, and I was pretty tired. But we got there, kind of got settled in at the compound, and we packed rice and beans. I think in the total of the week, we gave out 1,000 pounds of each, 1,000 pounds of rice and 1,000 pounds of beans to each of the families that we would see. So that's just us packing them. And then I think I have another photo of that. Oh, there. It's just a delay. And then that's just us packing rice and beans. So really our first day was that next morning. But like I said, we definitely put in work. We were pretty tired that first day. And that's just a good reminder, too, that sometimes it's exciting to be out in the field, but to know that there's important work done inside, too, that we have to pack the rice and beans in order to give it away. So all our little missions that we have are important. Day 2. So this was our first day out on mission, so to speak. This particular school, the five places we went were all schools. 4 places we went. This one was more in the city, outside of where, not too far, probably about a 20-minute drive from the compound. And the way that we, the rotation for the mission as a whole is we would have the families sign in, and then they would go through like a small group discipleship, where they would have the gospel presented. I guess they used to do it more like a church setting, but they found that they were able to interact more one-on-one with the people and have a more effective as far as the people understanding the gospel being presented. So in that top photo up there on the left, that's just one of the groups. I think there was about 4 different teams that were all teaching. And it was always so encouraging because we would be waiting then. Those would be our future patients. We were waiting. We could see the gospel being presented, and it was always so encouraging. The first day, that was me with Miss Donna and Miss Carmen. I had never done it before, so I was kind of teamed up with Miss Donna, and she was telling me kind of how we go about it. I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping ahead. So they would do the discipleship, then they would go through, get vital signs, those sort of things, see what they needed to be seen about. Then they would come to us as nurses. So we would work almost more so like a nurse practitioner. We were determining what they needed. Everybody got vitamins. Everybody got like Tylenol and ibuprofen. But then we'd see different things. We would give antibiotics or antifungal cream, antibiotic cream, Claritin, Benadryl, all those kind of basic things that we would give out to the patients. So this is just us kind of set up. This is kind of how it would be. And there was about 8 of us nurse stations. And we had 2 doctors. We had a Honduran doctor with us, Dr. Andrea, and then Dr. Harvey was with us too. And so there were many a time I'd be like, please help me. And then at the nursing station, we would also give out Bibles. And this day in particular, that one of the memories that stood out was there was this little boy, he was with his mama, and I think he had a younger brother too. And so we got through all the nursing part, and at the end, I was like, would you like a Bible? And he jumped up and said, see, and he hugged that Bible so tight. It was just the most precious thing. He was so excited to get that Bible. And then then they would see the nurses. This was, we had like a children's kind of group. Miss Ashley, she would paint like little face paint and hand paint. This is our pharmacy. They gave out, I think, near 6,000 drugs throughout the whole week. That was them giving, doing the vital signs. We would also make sure that everybody would have a dewormer. Lots of times the schools would give those out, so we would have to see like how frequently. But just because of the water solutions or water, the situation there, that's the word I'm looking for. That's just something everybody got. And then our dentistry here, they would, see the patients for that. And more pictures just of the different outreach discipleship groups there. And one of my favorite stories, so at the end of the day, we would all meet up what we call the upper room. I think I forgot to put a photo on of that. I don't know why. But it would be like where we would have a devotional testimony time, and we would talk kind of about what happened during the day, because there was 40 of us. So we all had 40 different experiences, different stories. But this day in particular, one of them that really stood out to me was, like I said, this one wasn't too far from Alastafe, the main compound where we were staying. And one of the interpreters, she had a friend in town. And she kept calling her, like, you need to go in. You need to go to the clinic. You need to see. And she had some hard feelings about, the Baptists and all of that, just from the way she grew up. And she just didn't want to be associated with that. So she was kind of being a little obstinate. The devil was working in her heart to keep her from coming. But this friend just would not give up. And he's finally like, just go get medicine. You need the medicine. So she decided to go, and in the course of that, God saved her heart, and she became a Christian that day. So it reminded me, as they were telling that story, it reminded me of the story of Jesus and his friend, the paralytic, whose friend came and brought him to Jesus. And it says that Jesus said that because of your friend's faith, I've healed you. And I just thought of a good reminder to all of us, like, be persistent. Bring them to Jesus. We won't save them. We can't save them, but we can bring them to him and let him soften the heart and do the work. All right. This is day 2. So this is kind of our drive there. I just want to show pictures. It's the most beautiful country. It's absolutely beautiful. There's parts of it that look like the Pacific Northwest, that look like the Appalachians, some that look tropical with the banana trees and all the beautiful bright colored flowers, and then they're cactus. I mean, it's just everything. Anything that can grow in Honduras. So this was part of the drive there. And this is the little school that we were at, probably about 45 minutes or so from where we were, our main place. These are the little bracelets that our church kids made. We made them my last Sunday here. And so we were able to give them out. That little girl has one. And that little boy there, I think he's waiting on his mama. That's where the dentistry was being done. So his mama's probably having a tooth pulled, and he's just out there sitting. And then here we go. And this was almost a direct sight from where I was sitting, which I just, like I said, when it would stop, and when I was waiting on somebody to come and look at, I was just so amazed at the beauty and just the the ability to see the gospel being shared. But this is just the way my mind works, and this is kind of the story that stuck with me today on this particular day. Was this tree here? I have no idea. I tried to find out what kind of tree it is. I think it's just so knotted and old and all the things that we really probably don't know. But in my mind, it had to have been there a couple hundred years. And I stopped and I thought about all the things that tree had seen. Indigenous people, people farming the hills, picking the rice and the corn. And then one day a school gets built. And then there's kids coming in laughing, learning their numbers and their letters and how to read and write. And then one day, on July 6, 2026, it gets to hear the gospel being preached and souls being saved. And that is what it's all about. That is the kingdom of darkness being overcome by the kingdom of light. And that is, there's just nothing like that. And so there's just more pictures. There again, I just want you to be able to have an idea of what it's like. I love to see that people are people everywhere. Where we have different cultures, where we have a little different ways of doing things maybe, but kids are kids, people are people. So up here's their little basketball goal. Their basketball goals, the poles would end up into like a soccer goal. So they would play soccer, and that's usually what I saw them playing, was soccer. And then there's our like little school gardens. Each one of them had it. From what I understand, is almost like a senior project. As the older kids move out, they plant the gardens, and I'm guessing it helps to kind of feed the school and the community. And then this is the view from the back of the school, just out over the hills. And then just a little picture on the door. And more from the same place. It's kind of the same. I just loved it, and I just wanted to take pictures from every angle. I never wanted to forget. So, and that was always my favorite part of mission presentations, was seeing the pictures. So I'm trying to help. Okay. And this is the drive home. There again, cows in the road. That is a road. The roads were very, very rural. Very. They weren't. I'll tell you a road story, but not this month. Not this day. This day was good. All right. Day 4. This was probably my favorite day. I don't know if you're supposed to have a favorite, but this one was mine. Right there, that is us pulling up. That is all. There's had to have been over 100 people, well over 100 people, just waiting for us to get there. There's some kids trying to do school. I don't know that they learned a whole lot that day. They were so excited. They were so precious. We got so many hugs and learning hello. They were so proud of their little English hello and all the things. It was so sweet. This one was probably about an hour drive, so it was probably the most rural that we went to. This there kind of shows up this is kind of my little nursing station. So, we had our basic, stethoscope to listen. And most of the people were just, like I said, needing vitamins, pain medicine, antibiotics, those sort of things. But I had these, this is the Roman road that Brother Cecil, Miss Debbie gave me to pass out. And there's little Bible verses that I would pass out with the Bibles too. This is a little story. This little boy here, he came in with his grandma, and we were getting the basic information, what he was needing, what he was having problems with, or whatever. And he asked me through the interpreter, like, I want vitamins. And I started to answer, and she said, to learn how to read. And I stopped, and I looked at him, and he looked at me, and he just had the most little goofy smile on his face. He was messing with me. And so we just laughed and laughed. We thought that was funny. Like I said, kids are kids everywhere. And that is that's the view from the pharmacy. We ran out of, they kept coming to us. Oh, we're out of this now. We're out of that now. We gave out so much that day. They worked hard that day. Okay. And like I said, every day kind of had, I felt like God had a message for me every day. And this day it was this church here. In a gorgeous church. It would ring, the bells would ring every half hour. It was so pretty. And you can see right there, that is the school. Or in that picture right there is the school. So it was nearly touching the school. And I shared this with Brother Taylor. It really hit me that as I was sitting there, I thought, where is the church? Well, why are we all needing to come? Where's the church, and what are they doing? And that's not to say I don't know. They may be very active. Like I said, this was just something God was working in my heart. And I stepped back, and it kind of made me think about us and our community. Kind of like Brother Taylor mentioned it last Sunday about our close-knit community, and we have such an opportunity here to reach out to our schools. I mean, we're not but probably not a quarter mile from the little school and less than a mile from the big school. And like I said, that's not to say we haven't done well in the past, but it was encouraging to me and challenging to me to say, moving forward, let it not be said of us, where is the church? Let us be active in making sure that as needs arise, that we're there to meet those needs. And then you can see here the people out working in the rice in the cornfields and doing all the things. I did ask one thing that really I'll get to that in a minute. Okay. Oh, perfect timing, actually. So this is the photo, or I was thinking of the photos that almost didn't happen. It's easy to find excuses not to do things. It's easy to say, well, not tonight, or not right now. It doesn't work for me. As you saw, our church made bracelets. Well, we probably easily could have given out 500 bracelets. So we ran out pretty quick, but I had brought beads with me. And my interpreter, Crystal, she was like, Miss Adrienne, do you have the beads? Do you have the beads so we can make bracelets? And so I was going to get her the beads. And then I was like, no, even better than that. Why don't I stay and I do this with them? So I stayed up with the interpreters. And I didn't know much of what they were speaking. They were just laughing and giggling like little girls. And it was so fun. I felt like I was being a mom. I was tying all the bracelets and cutting all the cords, and they were just handing to me as fast as I could get them tied. And it was fun to see them laugh and smile. And with a lot of these girls, a lot of them came from like an orphanage, like a girls' home, because as you saw in the previous photos, and I asked about it, a lot of these are really poor communities, and so they do go to school. I mean, that's where we were working in schools, but they go to school until the family needs them to work. And then at that point, they either go and work in the rice field, or I keep saying rice fields, cornfields, or work agriculturally with them, or they'll send them to the city to make money and send back. And then sadly, sometimes like some of these girls, they just can't take care of them anymore. So there was actually a missionary, I believe, that started a home for these girls, and that's actually where they learned English, and that's how they're able to be as translators. But they were saying how they hadn't done beads since they were in that home and all the things. So it was just a really fun time that I always remember that, and there again, kids are kids everywhere, we make it to be a lot more complicated than it needs to be. Okay, day 5. I'm actually flying through this, so maybe I'm talking really fast. Day 5. So this was our last day out on mission. This one was there again. It's so funny how it also was 45 minutes from the compound, but it felt like a totally different country. Like the other one was a lot more agrarian and just more of the rolling hills. This one had a lot more of the palm trees and the banana tree, all that, but more of that tropical feel to it. We were going to work at the school. This is from the school looking down. We ended up working at this community center here. So where all these people are lined up, we ended up having the vital signs and the evangelism, all of that on this concrete slab, and then we would go inside here. And so all of us, the nurses, the dentists, and the pharmacy, was all in one building. And that was a little bit intense if you're not used to dental and all of that. But it was also good. Each one was really a different experience, so it was good and fun. So you can kind of see there that's where the dentist was. and then the pharmacy, and then right here is where the nurses were lined up. And that was them that's like where each of the individual evangelism would be. That's me with the different nurses that we worked with, and then the dentists doing their stuff. Okay, and this was kind of the neat story for this particular day. Was one of the ladies who helped do crowd control. She noticed that this man, I don't know that you can see too well, but his shoe, it's just, I don't even know that you can really call it a shoe. It's something on the bottom with tape strapped around it. So she went ahead and got a hold of our local missionary, that's Miss Andrea there. And some way or another, she ended up finding a way to get him some shoes. And you can see him and his wife there smiling so big. But it was such a neat way to see that those basic needs are met. And also just a good reminder that no matter where you're serving and in what capacity you're serving, that you can do good for others. And there you see the little girl with her little bracelet. All right. And there again, they kind of see the different foliage and such there in that location. And then this is where the driving was definitely interesting. If you can see, that's the road, and that's not the road. So this was the time we had trouble even getting in. But then we went to go, and I think this bus driver's been driving for years, and I think he took that as a challenge that he was going to find a way to get through. And I was like, I'm really good with just walking up the hill. If we all walk up the hill, that gets rid of a couple thousand pounds. But no, he decided that he could make it do. So he finally got up the hill, and then we had another hill. So he stopped with us on the incline, and I'm like, I've seen too many video games. We're not doing this. And sure enough, he reared up that engine and zoom, zoom. And I'm like, oh. But we made it, and he was pretty proud of it too. Let's see. Okay, and then our last day was getting prepared for the next team. So we were restocking all the vitamins and the antibiotics, all the things. This was me filling up the lice shampoo. Actually, after the last place we were at, the pharmacist gets on the bus and she's like, I'm going to have light shampoo at all y'all showers. I would suggest you using that. So she must have filled quite a few prescriptions for that. So we were busy doing that. And this is also a good opportunity to see the pharmacy. This is the pharmacy on the compound, and it's beautiful. All the shelves, all organized. Just a really nice facility. I have pictures of the facility coming up. I don't think I have others of the pharmacy, so I wanted y'all to get a chance to see that. All right, so this picture up here is a picture of us on the last evening. We go out to eat at like a local restaurant. And of course, it's good food and good fellowship, and we're having a good time. But what made that time especially special to me was that as we were doing that, they're looking through photos of previous trips. And of course, we had talked about Brother Cliff and Bryce and Ethan and all, but they're looking through photos. One of the guys is like, who's that guy who used to work for AT&T? And he's like, Kenneth McCardle. And it just hit me. I'm like, oh my goodness, I know Brother Kenneth. And the team leader, Dr. Eddie, he looked at me and he said, he might have been a misunderstood man, but that man did more good for this compound or for this mission than he'll ever know. And I had wondered, when having been all the days prior, been able to be at a Lost to Faith. These are pictures now of the Lost to Faith. It is stunning. You feel like you're just in some dream almost. It's so pretty. But I was looking today, and he went in 2019. They bought the Lost to Faith in 2020. And I wouldn't be surprised that the reason the missionaries have a hot shower, there's a seminary for people to learn about the Bible, pharmacy, church, all the things didn't have to do with the fact that Brother Kenny decided to store up treasures in heaven instead of on earth. And I think that's just a really good testimony to us. And even us here, we still get to work in the nursery and watch a sermon because of Brother Kenny. All those things. So it's just a good reminder that what are we working for? Okay, so here's more of the compound. The cocoa bean, their coffee beans, they're growing. So this is the farm clinic here, and all of this is their fields of coffee beans that they're growing. I think they said their first year they grew about 40 pounds, and then last year was like 160, and then this year is looking to be even more. So it's being really effective. They're using the resources from that to turn around and help build the seminary and all the things, and then just more pictures of the compound. All right, and this would be the clinic that's there on post. So we didn't get to use it other than to fill the pharmacy, but different teams will have, like, one day instead of going out to mission, they'll have it open for the people of the community to come there and, have the dental and medical done, and as well as the pharmacy. All right, and then this is pictures of the chapel there. So we have this is just kind of a picture from the back looking at it, and then picture from the front looking the other way. And then this is kind of to show the distance between them. So this one here is the chapel, and this one here is the clinic. So I think that they kind of do the same thing. They're coming to the chapel and do the discipleship, and then go to the clinic that way. And then here's the mural. And this is kind of where I wanted to I kept trying to think of what specific God wanted me to share. And this would be the story of Miss Ashley. She's the one who painted the mural there, and you saw her earlier painting like little pictures on kids' hands and stuff. I rode with her on one trip to the mission, and we were talking. She was talking about how for many years, she wanted to go on mission, but she just didn't see how she could serve. She didn't have, medical skills or teaching skills or anything like that. So she didn't see how God could use her. But then as we were talking, there's so many times in the Bible, where God is a creative God. He created such beauty when He's given instructions for the tabernacle, the temple, all those sort of things. He has art as a part of it, and that her using her gift of art is a blessing to others, and that God did have a place for her to serve. And so I guess that would be my encouragement to y'all, to all of us, to sometimes it's easy to see the gifts that God has given you and kind of wish you had other ones. You wish maybe you could speak better, or maybe you could sing, or maybe you could, fill in the blank. But God made you just the way that you are. He gave you all the gifts for a reason. And that reason is to bring Him glory. So just like she was able to come with her art and bring God glory through painting these murals and bringing smiles to kids' faces by painting a smiley face on their hand, you can bring God glory in using the gifts that God has given you. So I would just encourage you to see how you can do that in your day-to-day life. Oh. And then this is I really did go through this fast. I must talk really fast, but that's okay. So I had everything on there with the stats, but I think for some reason it turned black. So it is, Joe, would you hand me my phone? Just because that's kind of what everybody wants to know. And I don't want to tell you wrong. We had 164 professions of faith. We saw 1,448 patients. gave out over 6,798 prescriptions. Like I said, they were working. 271 dental patients with 398 extractions. They gave out 374 eyeglasses and sunglasses. So they had sunglasses that they would give to a lot of the men who were working in the fields, just to kind of help with their vision to protect that. We gave out over 800 Bibles, 600 New Testaments. Oh, thank you. Beginning steps. So those were given, they were given to the new professing believers. So it was like kind of like a discipleship book, I guess. But also they were very intentional in making sure that the new believers, that they had their names, that they knew what location they were from, so that the local missionaries could go back and reach out, make sure they get plugged in with like a local church, to make sure that they're being discipled and not just, making sure that they're being followed up with. The New Testament. So the New Testaments were given, I believe, to the children. So like I didn't have a lot of pictures of that, but there was some sort of a children's ministry, like with coloring sheets and different things. And the children were the ones who would get the New Testaments. And then, of course, the rice and the beans. So that kind of is the nut and bolts of the mission. Yeah, and like I said, I just thank you all so much for your support and encouragement through this. And hopefully we all can go back again.
It was good. Fantastic. Cliff says he can taste it from afar. Your presentation had far fewer photos of the food. Well, look, I'm going to go ahead and dismiss us with a word of prayer. If you have any questions for Adrienne, I'm sure she would love to answer those and talk more about her mission. But I'm going to dismiss us for this evening. Let's pray together. Father, I thank you once again for this opportunity that Adrienne's had and the opportunity our church has had to support missions here, near, and far. And Lord, we just ask that you'd continue to bless us with those resources, continue to bless us with people who would go, continue to bless us in order that we might see your name reach around this globe and that we might fulfill that great commission call that you've placed upon all of us. Lord, as we go out into this week ahead of us, Lord, help us to do that even here, in order that we might recognize the great mission field that you've placed us in here at Brooklyn, and that there are so many who are unreached. Lord, I pray that you would help us to reach our schools, our community, the surrounding area. Lord, there's so many who are unchurched, and there's no church for them to plug into, and others who are dying and decaying. Lord, help us to be a light amongst all of them. Lord, I pray that you would equip us and use us for that, and do that individually for each of us as we walk out of these doors. Lord, be with us as we go about the rest of our week, and bless us as we return to your house on this upcoming Wednesday and Sunday. It's in the name of Jesus we pray, asking all of these things. Amen.